In this third part of our series, we're going to be continue to work on our website, and we're going to be working on the contact page and making our own contact form. Now, unlike previous episodes, we won't be adding things to the master page. It will actually be the contact page, so we're just going to double click that. If you've got navigation, you'll know that it will actually show that this is the active page. And if you've got that type of navigation, then you don't need to have a label to say this is the contact page. That will do. Alternatively, if you want to, you can put a label in, something like connect with us or get in touch, and that will alert people to which page they're on. Okay, so first I'm just going to add some introductory text as to what I want people to do on the form. I'm just going to go to the toolbar and get an HTML text frame tool. It's going to zoom in. It's going to start it at 200. And I'm just going to add some text. Okay, that looks good. Now, one thing that I sometimes do and I sometimes don't do is to have the frame guides on. So in this instance, once I click away, the frame guides aren't there, so I'm just going to turn them on by going to view, and then it's called frame edges, and in options it's called frame guides, but anyway, and that will show you the frame guide. If you're doing a lot of things, sometimes you want it on, sometimes you want it off. So I'm just going to change that to about halfway through the page, or just more than halfway through, and that will just tell people what I want them to do with the form, and that they should fill in all the ones with an asterisk, as that will be mandatory. I think size 12 is too big, so I'm just going to change it to 10. Okay, maybe I will make it a little bit. So now I'm just going to add the form. There are lots of ways to do this. I'm just going to use the form wizard because sometimes I think that's the easiest way to start from. I'm just going to do create a new form with the wizard. I'm just going to add every single field that I will want, give it a label, and add some validation. So the first thing I want is an edit box. I'm just going to call it name. I'm just going to add a star at the end, so this is what the visitors will see, just to denote that this will be a required field. I'm just going to go to edit control. I'm just going to give it a maximum length. I always think that's a good idea, of about 25. Add some validation. Edit box must not be empty, so please enter your name, and then OK, and then that's our edit box ready to go. I'm just going to continue doing that for all the boxes that I want up until I get to the comments box, which will be a slightly different field, and then I'll come back. So I've added 4 fields: the name, the email address, telephone, and mobile. Now I'm just going to add a text area so that visitors have a place to add their message or what they want from you, or if they want you to ring them back, and so on. So I'm just going to hit text area. I'm just going to call it comments, and I want that to be a required field. So I can edit, name, comments, nothing there, required. Please complete the comments field, and OK. Now I want to add a drop down list of options. How did you find us? And within that, whether we want Google search or Yahoo search or advertising elsewhere that we've got in place. So I'm just going to add a combo box. We're just going to call it referrer. And edit control, and we're just going to add an option. So this will, for example, just be search, and that's what's shown, and this is what will be in the value when the data comes to us. So I'm just going to call them both the same thing, and now we're just going to do another. By book I just mean the yellow book or the blue book or whatever color book is there in your area. think that's enough. Okay, so those will be the 4 options that they will have available. We can make it a required field, but I wouldn't really recommend you do that because sometimes I think that feels a bit forceful and some visitors don't like that. I'm just going to leave it empty. Just going to click OK. I'm going to add 2 checkboxes for the field how to contact you. So the first one will be phone and the second one will be email. I'm just going to hit checkbox and add phone. Okay, and then just another one that says email. And OK. So now we just need to add one more thing, and that's the actual submit button. So I'm just going to click submit button. We'll be changing that again to match our site, so that's fine for now. I'm just going to hit next. And now we need to choose how we want the data to be submitted. You can have no action, you can have email address, a script, a remote script, or Serif web resources. I'm just going to leave it no action for now. You can use a script, and if you've not already seen my video on how to create a PHP script to send data, then you can check that out. That's one way to send the data. Or you can sign up for Serif web resources, which is free, and it's a really quick and easy way of getting the data sent to your email. I'm just going to click finish. I'm just going to paste the form. Okay. Just going to make it wider. I'm just going to bring it down just about there. Now, at the moment these look very small, so I'm just going to elongate them. And here the transform panel in the bottom right comes in useful. I'm just going to set them all to about, let's see, 300. Search and the checkboxes we can't change, but that's fine. And they do seem a little bit squished up, so I'm just going to space them out just a little bit more. I'm going to take this last one and just move it around here. Those I'm going to have on one line. Okay, just going to group these. And I'm just going to select them all. And I'm going to go down to the align panel and choose space evenly down. And that will just nicely space them. So you only really have to worry about where the first one is and where the last one will be. And then you can just have them spaced. Okay, so that looks good. Okay, now once you've grouped things, you can still select individual items within that grouping. So say for example I wanted to select the name here. I'm just going to hold down Control and I can then just access that. What I want to do is I just want to change the font size to 10. Okay, and for these last 2 checkboxes I'm just going to move them so that they're like that. And I want to have a label that indicates what it is that they are actually for. I'm just going to hold down Control and just duplicate that. And I'm just going to call this how to contact. Pretty much our form done. Now, most of the times when somebody's looking at a form, they can either click on each field to go to that field, or if they're just working their way through, if they're on the first field, then they can press tab and it will take them to the second one, and so on. But we need to make sure that there is actually an order, and that order does exist so that they can make their way down. I'm just going to right click and go to change tab order and just double confirm that it is going in the order that we want it to go in. And if you want to change the order, then you can just click the order. So now by clicking that one, that will be the first one, that will be the second one, that will be the third one, and you can see those labels. Just going to reset it back to the correct order. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and this one is 7, and that one is 8, and that one is the 9. So it will just go all the way down. Excellent. Okay, and that's pretty much our form done. Now I'm just going to preview that. Go to contact, and there's our form. Now you can leave it like that, but what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make a few more changes just to make it look a little bit nicer. So what I'm going to do is just add a little bit of code that will make the form fields have a border around them, and to make them all the same font, because the comments field will be a slightly different font, so I want that all to be the same, and I want them all to be a font size 12 points. Okay, so in order to do that, I'm going to hit this button called Attach HTML to Page. I'm just going to scroll down a bit. Now just before where you see Master Page Style Sheet, I'm just going to add a new style that we're going to apply to those fields. I'm just going to copy that in. And what we're basically saying is make the form field height 25 pixels, give it a 1 pixel solid border, and the color is hex 005C9C, which is just the blue from our scheme colors. We want font Verdana and font size 12 points. I'm just going to close that. Okay, in order to apply that to these fields, I need to make sure that they're using that font style. I'm just going to right click. I'll probably ungroup just to make it easier. I'll right click, attach HTML, and just here, just before the add code, I'm going to enter class equals form style 1. Don't worry, I'll put all this code in the more info box. Actually, I think there's a link down there that will just take you to all the code that we've been using. I'm just going to click OK. Actually, I'll just copy that. I'm going to click OK, and I'm going to do that for all of them. Okay, I'm just going to preview that. You can see now that they're a bit taller, and they've got this nice little blue border around them, which matches our site colors. I'm just going to do one more thing that will make it stand out. At the moment, as I go through them, sometimes it's very difficult to see which form field has been selected. I'm just going to add a little bit of code again, just hitting attach HTML to page. I'm just going to go just beneath where we put that code in. I'm just going to add this little bit of code. And all this simply says is that when an input box, like a text field or a text area has focus, make the background color a light yellow. Just going to close that and just preview that again. And now, as you can see, as we click on the fields, they get this nice light yellow background, which will make it easier for the visitors to identify which field that they're in. Okay, and the last thing I'll do is I'll just change this submit button to the one that we used previously. I'm just going to go to the master page and literally just copy this one. So that's Control C and Control V. And you need to make sure that it's within the boundaries of the form. So I'm just going to move it around there. just change that to about there. Just going to quickly preview that. That looks nice. Just to finish it off, I'm just going to put a rectangle around it. Arrange, and I'm going to send it to the back, and I'm going to make the fill none, and I'm going to make the line scheme color grey. Just quickly preview that. I think that looks much nicer. Cool. So now we've got a lot of white space to the right, so what I'm going to do is just using this HTML text frame just to input some information there, the telephone number and the address. Okay, so I've done that, and that's pretty much all of our contact area done. Now, one thing you notice is that we've still got this little contact box here, and now that we've got this one as well, it's almost duplication. It doesn't really make sense. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to get rid of this area and replace it with something different. Now, because it's on the master page, it's not as easy as just deleting it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the master page, click copy, and I'm just going to select all of the object's background and attach the HTML, click OK, and now we've got a second master page. Just going to highlight everything I don't want and just delete it. Now, of course, the contact page is still referring to master page A, so I'm just going to right click, page properties, go to background, uncheck master A and check master B. And now you can see that the bottom area of the page doesn't have anything, but we can't really just leave it blank like that. So what I'm going to do is add a Google map. Go to insert, media, Google map. I'm just going to type in a random place, so Buckingham Palace, London, and that's Buckingham Palace Road, so that's fine, which is just right next to Buckingham Palace. I'm just going to add a map marker, so I'll click add, and I'm just going to choose a point. I'll just choose there. Just going to call it office, and I'm going to make the click action, so when you click on that marker, to go to Street View. And I'm just going to click OK and OK again. I'm just going to put it about there. I want it to take up the whole width and just almost all of the height. So something like that. Okay, and we're just going to preview that. So we've got our form on our left hand side, we've got more information on the right hand side, and at the bottom, just as almost something that almost looks like a graphic, it's actually an interactive Google map, and when you click on it, it would actually just go to the street view and take you to Buckingham Palace Road, which if that was your office, then that would just be really awesome for visitors to look at, just like that. Okay, so in the next one, we'll continue working on our site, and hopefully that video will be out in, again, 1 to 2 days. If you do like these videos, do comment and do subscribe.